Who are we? What is our destiny? What gives us as human beings worth and dignity? Up until the 20th century, most Western societies believed that men, women, and children had an inherent value that could not be taken away or destroyed by other human beings or governments. However, back in the 17th century, philosophers, writers, politicians, and others began to teach that it was our ability to reason and that it was reason alone that provided this dignity and worth and nothing more. The history of ideas from this point on is a journal of humanity's attempt to redefine itself in the absence of the traditional notion of God. Today, the denial of absolute truth is perhaps the defining characteristic of Western civilization. One result is an unprecedented upheaval in every area of life and the loss of basic truths to live our lives by. Our belief in the absolute value of each human being has been greatly diminished. Modern life is now characterized by a dehumanized view of people. The carnage and the atrocities of the wars of the 20th century and the continuing oppression of people worldwide are clear examples of this. Extreme cruelty, such as that faced by the Jews, for example, in the 1930s and 40s, has become the hallmark of the 20th century. In this series, we'll explore the fundamental causes and results of the philosophical, social, and moral changes around us. We'll see that in modern humanity's search for meaning, we have, so to speak, been grasping for the wind.
Our investigation will cover crucial events in history, such as the Enlightenment, the French Revolution, the Romantic Movement, the advances in modern science and technology, and the wars that have devastated humanity. We will also explore the motivating ideas behind these events. To examine the ideas that have shaped our culture, we will also look at writers, artists, poets, composers, philosophers, and other pivotal figures who have played a key role during the last 200 years in creating the world we now live in. In particular, we will be looking at people who have influenced our lives, such as Albert Einstein, Charles Darwin, Karl Marx, Margaret Sangor, and Sigmund Freud. We will also be looking at artists like Paul Gauguin and Pablo Picasso, the great jazz soloist Louis Armstrong, the beat poets such as Allen Ginsberg, key film figures, for example, Marilyn Monroe and James Dean, and revolutionary rock music idols, including Elvis Presley, the Beatles, and the Sex Pistols. We will review great films and filmmakers, among these Orson Welles, Alfred Hitchcock, Stanley Kubrick, and the more contemporary films such as Forrest Gump. Finally, we will examine some of the tempestuous events of the last decades of the 20th century.